Hello guys, this is a short video about questions that are asked when you go for the DV lottery visa interview at the US Embassy or consulate. So you've completed your DS-260 because you've been selected as a winner of the DV lottery. You've completed your DS-260, you've submitted it, you've been called for an interview. So your interview is already scheduled. You've done your medicals, you've done all the preparations ready for the interview. So once you get your appointment date, you're ready to go for the interview. So let me screen share and we'll do a little bit step by step of the expectation when you go to the interview. So number one, so the process is usually you submit an entry, and that is the year before, usually October to November. So after submission of the entry, you wait to see if you're selected. Around May of the following year, you get selected or you're not selected. If you are selected, then you start preparing for the interview. Prior to that, you have to complete the DS-260. After that, you confirm your qualifications either by work experience or by education. The next step is to submit your immigrant visa and alien registration application, which is the DS-260. So these things, step 4 and 5 can be done simultaneously because you already know whether you have the qualifications by high school or you have qualification through work. So the next thing is to submit supporting documents to KCC, Kentucky Consular Center, and then you attend, the interview is scheduled, but prior to that, you will need to prepare with documents and everything else that will be required. And all this information is available at travel.state.gov. So if you're one of those winners of the DV Lottery 2025, then you should be familiar with this, get familiar with this page, this website, so that you can prepare yourself. And then at the applicant interview. So we're talking about some of the questions that you'll be expected to answer, or what is the expectation when you go to the interview. So prior to your interview, it says, ensure that you have followed the U.S. Embassy or Consulate interview preparation instructions. On the schedule, date, and time of your interview appointment, go to the U.S. Embassy or Consulate. A consular officer will interview you and accompanying family member beneficiaries. So if you have your husband or your wife and your children, if you had listed them as derivatives on the DS-260, then you come with them to the interview and determine whether or not you can receive an immigrant visa. So as part of the interview process, ink-free digital fingerprint scans will be taken. So before you go to face the interviewer, the consular officer, the visa officer, then you will have to have your biometrics taken, your fingerprints taken, you and your family members that you're bringing. It's important to note that if you don't intend to travel with your family, they don't have to come to the interview. So let's say, for example, you had listed them on the DS-260, but because of circumstances, either because the host is not able to host the whole family, or because the finances are not enough to cover for the whole family, and they're going to come back later, they don't have to come for that interview on that day. Then you can just attend the interview as the main applicant. They can follow you later, but remember, the visas are only a few, and you have only until 30th of September of that year to for that fiscal year for the visa to be issued to them. So the earlier you can do it, if it's possible, just travel with your family if it's possible. So you must attend, who must attend the interview? Like I said, you, your spouse, and any qualified and married children immigrating with you must participate in the interview. If your spouse and or qualified and married children will immigrate at a later date and travel separately from you, they are not required to participate in your interview. They will be scheduled for a separate interview appointment. You should contact the U.S. Embassy or Consulate directly to arrange separate interviews if needed. So what are some of the questions that will be asked when you go to the interview? So the main purpose of the interview really is to verify that you're who you say you are, right? Is to verify that, okay, I am Lucy Mwangi. I applied for DV lottery, and now I'm presenting these documents to show that, yes, I am Lucy Mwangi. Here is my birth certificate. Here is my passport. Here is my work. If I'm qualifying through work, here is my work experience from my supervisor or my job with the official letterhead saying that I have. Actually, the requirement is 2 years work experience in the last 5 years in a qualified occupation. And there's a website that you can go to verify that, yes, this is a qualified work experience by the US standards. That website is onetonline.gov. And so the main purpose of the interview, to verify that you're who you say you are, that you're the one that applied for the DS-260. Number two, to verify that you meet the requirements, the eligibility requirements by education. 12 years of high school education. So in Kenya, it's a secondary education, KCSE, completion of 12 years of primary and secondary education. Through work experience, we talked about that. And then bring your passport to show that you're who you say you are. Bring your birth certificate, bring your DS-260 confirmation page. So which questions should you expect to be asked? Simple questions after that. If you're already verified through the paperwork, if the paperwork is on point, if it matches what's on the DS-260, because really that's what they're comparing. They're comparing the DS-260 and the paperwork that you're presenting. All right, so it's just verification of documents, really. After that, they might want to ask you where you're going, what state. So make sure you have that information, contact information for your host, address, phone number. What does the host do? Simple questions like those, which you should already know. They're not going to ask you to prove that you have family ties. On the B1, B2 visas, we've talked about how they're pressing on you having family ties or strong ties to your home country. They are not going to ask that because you're migrating, you're immigrating to the US, you don't have intentions of coming back. So we did high school education qualification and work experience. So it's important to remember that you should not pursue a DV application if you do not meet the qualifying education or work experience required explained above, or if you provided an invalid passport number with your entry or selected an exemption for which you do not qualify. Such errors may render you ineligible for a diversity visa, and any fees you pay for the visa application will not be refunded. So bear that in mind when you are completing, when you're going through this process. All right, so some of the questions, like I said, include where are you going, what state, who's hosting you, what's the address, what's the contact information for that person, what are you going to be doing in the US when you get there, what do you plan to do? You can say, I'm planning to go back to school as a student, I'm going to look for a job, I'm going to join the military. As long as it's not a criminal activity that you are going to engage in, you should be okay. No answer is wrong as long as it's not a criminal activity. So if everything is on point, if everything matches the DS-260 and they verified that you're who you say you are and you're the one that or completed the DS-260, then most likely 9 out of 10 times you will be told, congratulations, welcome to the US, and your visa will be issued a few days later. The other thing that can happen is you might be put on administrative processing. So that means that they need to verify your documents. They don't have enough evidence to give you the visa for that time. It doesn't mean that they're denying it. It means that they need more time to go over the documents, to verify something, to check on something, and then they'll get back to you. So the processing might take a while. It varies depending on the reason, whether they are looking at the background, whether they're trying to verify that work that you have presented, or whether you went to school for a certain degree and they're trying to verify with the college. It can be a myriad of reasons why they put you on administrative processing. So it might take time. So make sure that all your documents are on point. A lot of times you don't have control of what's going to happen when you go to the visa interview, but it's important to have your documents, at least have your documents in check, and they're matching with the DS-260, and they're matching with the originals that you submitted to KCC, Kentucky Consular Center, so that there won't be any issues there, because these visas they're limited. There are 55,000, around and about 55,000 visas to give everybody in the whole world. It's not just you. So if you miss your opportunity, somebody else will get it. You know, the train keeps going. It doesn't stop. So make sure your documents are on point so that you don't miss that opportunity. I'll do another video with a lineup of what documents to bring to the visa interview when you go for the DV lottery visa interview. I'll do that next time, so make sure you look out for that video. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. If you have any questions, put them down in the comments section. And thank you for subscribing to my channel and for watching these videos and sharing them. I appreciate you. I'll see you guys next time.